Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. A happy Friday. Thank you for joining us to start off your day. We are brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Speaking of sports books, let's see how we did yesterday on the recap screen. Before we bring in the stars of the show, 4-2. We count Jeff Feinberg's pick, of course. He was on the show yesterday. He spikes his plus 150. I hit my plus 180, but I lose the Keegan Bradley play. Larry Hartstein comes in with our first NFL play and our first NFL cash of the new season in 2025, and Snyper 1 for 2, the one loss being that crazy Reds game, which maybe we'll talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, we're 34 days away from NFL kickoff. Put your favorite 34 in the chat. I'm sure Snyper will have something to say about that. Speaking of him and Chip and Buckets and Brasco and myself and you all. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BPE Friday. Here we go. I see Buckets. I see shadow boxing. I see the Sniper, Daniel Alistair Caffey with his bat. And of course, last week we didn't have him, so he's going to have to quadruple espresso this thing. Chip Patterson, if you don't mind, can we have our Chip Me Up?
Good morning, Sia. Good morning, Buckets. Good morning, Sniper. Good morning, Danny. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Early Edge fam. You know that we had to just get hot on the dice and bring back these winners for you because I hated not being here. But we've got a wonderful golf tournament right down the road here in North Carolina. Got a little hometown flavor. More on that later. I'll explain this little scarf. And I am fired up to get the weekend started right. Let's go.
This is how you get your Friday started, everybody. Thank you for being in here. Sniper, I'm going to go to you next because I did mention that we're 34 days away from NFL season. So if you don't mind, give us your favorite 34.
Boy, that's difficult. I think I'll go with Walter Payton.
Yeah. You know, Sniper, can I ask you something? When we talk about great running backs, and I don't know if it's because it was so long ago in the mid-'80s, but I feel like Walter Payton's name doesn't get brought up enough. Is that just because we're so far removed from the 80s, or is it because people just don't think he's like a top 5 running back of all time, for example?
Who doesn't think that he's a top 5 running back?
I just feel like he doesn't get brought up enough.
With my bat. I know it's probably different for me growing up in a Bears fan family and growing up in the Midwest and still living in the Midwest, but I think he gets talked about plenty.
Yeah, fair enough. Brasco, your thoughts there? Any?
I mean, I might offend some Gen Z folks here, but I was a history major in college. I just feel like nobody studies the past anymore.
Yeah.
Like no one's bringing up Walter Payton's sweetness because that generation feels like it's already forgotten. I know sports have modernized. Athletes are better and more athletic than they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Sweetness was ahead of his time. He was the way he moved. I mean, I'm born in 91, guys. I know all about him. So go back, learn up because Walter Payton was something special.
If you watch some of the highlights, he was like a modern day back with all his cutting and everything and the combined power and speed and elusiveness combo. He was like one of these recent guys.
Wow.
See, we are not losing recipes. Hold on, let me get it. This is a children's book about football. It is a modern one with like Mahomes on the front, and Walter Payton gets a whole page in it. So
I can't think of the Wheaties box without Walter Payton either.
But people don't even know what Wheaties is at this point.
40
it's all
pages
sugar
for children to
cereals
learn
at this
about
point.
football. We are teaching them about Walter Payton. Don't worry, his legacy lingers on.
Bucket, speaking of children's books, and I know that's a weird way to start a sentence because now you think I'm going to just like go in on Buckets. Before the show, we were talking about a show that I've never heard of and that you were referring to as maybe a children's show, maybe an adult show. What was that show?
I was sitting in the pre-show lobby singing to myself like an absolute animal, and then Chip joins and asks what I was singing, and I was singing Golden from the K-pop Demon Hunters. So if any of you, because I know that none of you have seen it because you're all like 45 and older, but if any of you in the chat have seen it, please let me know.
Brasco, taking offense to
Sorry,
that?
Danny. I never forgot you were here.
So much.
I thought I was the only one 45 and older, actually, but okay.
No comment at this time for any of us. Okay, well, we're about 5 minutes in the show. If anybody's ever heard of that show that Buckets just dropped, please let us know. I just want to know how much of it on an island Buckets is. Maybe you all have heard of that and you're like, yeah, I love that show. It's great. And it's not a children's show, or it is, or what have you. All right. Samuel Gallego says, damn, I miss Chip. Yeah, we all miss Chip. Every Friday, he's not here. Chip, we'd love to have you every day on this show, by the way. That energy is, nobody can replicate that. But let's just go ahead and try to get into some picks. Chip, I know you have a golf pick. I have a golf pick. People were asking me, if they wanted to, if I wanted to run my 3-ball back, which was plus 180, I think it's probably plus 160 on that Paul Peterson. I do like it. It's a lean. It's not an official play, but I expect Paul Peterson to win that 3-ball against Fisk and Cummins yet again. So I don't mind anybody taking that. But let's go to soccer. Buckets, talk to me about hopefully some names I can pronounce.
Guten Morgen, meine Freunde. We finally have, for the first time in months, people, the Bundesliga back in action. We've got the Svein de Bundesliga with teams that we all know how to say and that we all love so much, with the opening match taking place this afternoon. We have FC Schalke 04 taking on Hertha Berlin. So you know that we don't care if it's the first game back. We don't care if they've been on a break. When you see Schalke play in any capacity, you bet the exact same thing every damn time, guys. We're taking both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at minus 115. Schalke had an embarrassing season last season, and they will be desperate to bounce back this season. They picked up some really good new attacks, some good midfielders. In classic Schalke fashion, completely ignored their defense. This bet has now hit in every single head-to-head matchup dating back to 2001. 7 for 7, we've seen both teams to score and over 2.5 hit when these teams two teams clash. I cannot ignore this number at minus 115. Welcome back, Bundesliga. We missed you very much. Then Thank you. Cut me off real quick. I thought someone was in my apartment. Also, welcome back the Austrian Bundesliga this afternoon with the opening match taking place between LASK and Sturm Graz. This is kind of a bizarre matchup because, again, first match back, maybe teams are a bit rusty. But Sturm Graz won the championship last season. They were the best team in Austria, while LASK won the relegation portion, which means Sturm Graz is a lot better. They got better during the transfer period. They should win this one, but rather than take Sturm Graz on the money line, because we're a bit scared of it being the season opener, we're just going for over 2.5 goals. This hits consistently whenever Sturm Graz plays, and LASK at home is good enough to score, but probably not good enough to win. Looking at a 3-1 win for Sturm Graz here, Sia.
Wow, we're calling the score too. That, to me, when I see this LASK thing, I think of LASIK surgery because it's always in all caps when it's being promoted and advertised. Has anybody on the panel, Chip, I'm assuming you're wearing glasses, assuming you haven't, but anybody gotten LASIK surgery? Nobody? Anybody in the chat? I got it back in 2000 and the late 2000s, like 2008.
Oh, and no recut? You haven't had to go in for a second?
I haven't. My eyes have diminished a little bit, but not nearly enough for it to matter. But yeah, it was absolutely great. I'm not giving any medical advice here. I'm just saying I happened to get it, and it was fantastic right away, and it's been fantastic ever since. Jen M agrees. She says LASIK is the best. All right, Sniper, I think you're the best. I think Sweetness is potentially the best. But you know what's not the best? Is when you have a 3-1 lead and you're the Reds and you've got the run line. You had already cashed Ellie De La Cruz, so you were already kind of floating high there, but it goes to 3-3. And then 11-3, and then 11-11, all in the 8th inning. And then the Reds had a chance to still cover the run line in that game. That was crazy. Your response before you give out your pick.
Well, it was frustrating because when it was 3-1, there was a routine ground ball hit to third base to Key Brian Hayes, who the Reds just acquired for his defense. And he completely whiffed on the ball, and the Braves tied the game. Now, I didn't know they were both going to score 8 runs in the 8th inning, but obviously I was very frustrated at the time. However, it was nice that we had already cashed Ellie on the total bases before that. So I knew, hey, we've already won one of these two. And, the other one was plus money anyway. So it was like, I felt good where we were. I still thought the Reds were going to have a chance to cover it until the Braves scored 8 in the top of the 8th. And then I gave up. Did not realize that the Reds scored 8 in the bottom of the 8th to tie it. But what a wild game. Unbelievable.
Not only that,
Hayes hit a home run, right? 2?
Yes, he hit a 3-run homer in the 8th. Yeah, so a little redemption there. Didn't help me on the run line, but yeah, good for him, I guess.
At 11-11, it was the bottom of the 8th when they had put up the 8 runs, and they had a man on first with 1 out. Like there was a moment there where they could have still covered the run line, and then they just didn't get that run across, and they squandered it. But that's just an incredible game. All right, well, let's move along. You went 1 for 2, so it certainly wasn't a bad day at all. Sniper, talk to me about the Dodgers and Freddie Freeman.
I will do that after I get to Jeff for a second, who said, I need to apologize for Carlos Carrasco. I thought he said 5.5 strikeouts, and I said, no, don't take the over on that. Carrasco ended up with 5. Even if he said 5, that's a push, so I don't understand how he thinks he won. Anyway.
Classic
it might have been 5+. Maybe he put 5+. Anyway, we're fine. I'll move on. Dodgers in Tampa today. we're going to go crazy on the Dodgers offensive side here. I'm going to go Dodgers team total over 4.5 runs. Shane Baz of the Rays on the mound. He's very talented. There's been times that he's piled up the strikeouts. He struck out 11 in a game so far this year, but he has a 6.33 ERA at home. It is extremely hot and humid. It looks like the real feel is going to be 100 degrees when the game starts. That's really rough for a pitcher, especially with a short right field porch. And the ball has been flying out for right-handed batters all year this year. So I've got the Dodgers team total over on this one. I think they're going to have a very fun offensive day, and they're due for one anyway. They haven't been hitting the ball as well as they can lately. They'll get going here against Baz, especially after the day off yesterday. Also going to stick right with the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman, 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs, cushy lineup spot, either third or fourth in the lineup. He's actually been batting fourth recently. So a lot of RBI opportunities, I believe, today for Freddie. He's been hot. Last 9 games, he's 12 for 35 with a double, home run, and 7 RBI. So Freddie Freeman over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Basically, I love the Dodgers today in this matchup.
All right. And by the way, Sniper, you can talk about our home run chart. We're going to do it after the break, but we're going to have a few home run plays for everybody to digest as well. And I know you like to respond to that. All right. We're just going to continue to pack in picks. Chip, I'm going to go to your golf pick next, but I do appears I need to wish someone a happy birthday. Capper Taylor, it's your birthday. So happy birthday, Capper Taylor. Thanks for being in here with us. A-Mags is in here. Chris Kish giving out F1 picks is in here with us. Rob Johnson, former quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. Steve Folkerts. But seriously, Capper Taylor, thanks for celebrating your birthday for at least a few minutes with the Early Edge. Really appreciate you being in here all the time and everybody else. Go ahead, Buckets.
I have a real quick question for probably just Snyder, but everyone can answer. Do you remember the one time I asked if I could get a hit off a MLB pitcher and everyone told me I was an idiot for the next week and a half?
Yep. Not just because of that, but yeah, that.
Yeah, no, it's for other stuff, obviously, but they're just adding that to the already impressive resume they have. Yeah. Here's just a quick question for you, Sniper. I'll concede that I probably couldn't get a hit. Do you think I could strike out a professional MLB batter, though? That's the other side of it. Which one's more likely? Me hitting or me striking someone out?
Strikeout is more likely.
Let's just say right off the top.
No, strikeout is less likely.
You could absolutely do neither. No way, neither. No chance in hell for either one. But suggesting a strikeout is way dumber.
No, the floater. Remember Rookie of the Year?
Yes.
You gotta have the floater after he loses his 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
3 times.
Look, there's a better chance.
Touch it.
There's a better chance of someone else being sick or having a bad day than Buckets touching a 95-mile.
Yeah, but he could close his eyes and swing. Somebody could tell him like just swing when he's in his rotation.
They're both outrageous. They're outlandish. There's no chance on either one. I laughed harder at the suggestion that he might be able to strike out a major league.
Liddy says this is 45 seconds I'll never get back. That's a pretty great comment.
You could put a major league pitcher against him and they would light him up. First pitch
versus anyone in the chat.
Dano says not sure Buckets could get a K versus anyone in the chat.
There's the idea. There's the idea from Jason. I need to grab a bat against Buckets. Yes. Let's have Buckets.
I will drive down to Indy today if you can get a baseball field pitch, whatever it is.
A pitch.
Definitely not a pitch.
If you can get a baseball pitch
or baseball field, if you can get access to a field, I'll drive down and we'll do this sometime.
They're literally everywhere. You can just go out to grass.
I would light you up.
Actually, that would be really fun. Okay, that would be really fun if we could orchestrate that. That would be really, really fun.
It'd be a lot of fun for me. That's for sure.
All right. Well, we'll go from the field to the pitch, apparently, to the greens. Chip Patterson. Talk to the links. There you go. Chip, talk to me about a round 2 match. One of 2 that we're going to give out on this show, but talk to me about your round 2 matchup.
Yeah, obviously the morning wave's already out there. I'm going to be targeting afternoon 3-ball matchup. 127 is when they're scheduled to tee off. We're going to go Webb Simpson. You got to lay a little bit going up against Steven Yeager in this head-to-head. Webb was 3 under yesterday. Yeager was 2 under. And Webb, his player profile, putting has not always been the strength, but he putted well yesterday and he putts well here. What else does he do well here? I don't know. A lot. He has 10 top 10 finishes at the Wyndham Championship. He has 7 top 5 finishes at the Wyndham Championship. He has a win at the Wyndham Championship. He, I kid you not, has a child named Wyndham in part because of his adoration for the Wyndham Championship. It's a Donald Ross course. It's in Greensboro. He grew up in Raleigh. He played at Wake Forest. He lives in Charlotte. Like, this is all a chance for Webb, who has had a little bit of a struggle the last couple of years, a struggle with health, hasn't been able to get out there and put his game together. But I think that this is a great opportunity for him against a player in Steven Jaeger, whose ceiling is higher right now, undoubtedly. But one of the flaws in Jaeger's game is driving accuracy, and Sedgefield Country Club is not long. It is not one where a bomber has a real advantage, and it does create some real problems if you're not accurate off the tee. So with that course advantage, with the history advantage, I'm going to go with Webb. The Broughton grad of 2004, the finest high school in America. I'm going to go with Webb minus 130 head-to-head against Steven Jaeger. Come on, Weber, let's make it to the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ever going to bet a Webb Simpson course, it is this one for sure.
This one.
Buckets, what's so funny?
I have been staring at Chip uncomfortably for the last 16 minutes trying to figure out which football club or soccer club that scarf is from. And I was like, purple established in 1920. I just like maybe a Luton Town. No, it's the capitals of Needham B. Broughton.
Needham B. Broughton High School, 1929, baby. Let's go.
You didn't know that? That's weird. All right.
Wow,
well,
bad.
You might not have known about these BetMGM promos, by the way. We've got It's Big Fly Friday at BetMGM. We're going to get to our home run props, and you're going to want to hear them because Big Fly Friday now includes parlays. You can now parlay as many home run hitters together as you'd like, and if one of the legs of the parlay hits the longest home run of the day, you will win a share of the $100,000 in bonus bets. No opt-in necessary. Token will be available to use on your home run hitter parlay or home run hitter straight bet, and you can choose one hitter per game. Let's go before we get to the home run picks, which we'll get to later in the show. Let's go to the SportsLine picks. We're going to go to the Chicago Cubs, Ben's Chicago Cubs, but this is a pick from Micah Roberts. Chicago Cubs money line minus 124, and then Prop Stars has Michael Wacha under 17.5 outs at minus 120. So we're going with the Cubs money line and Wacha under 17.5 outs at minus 120. All right, we got to get to more stuff. Could Buckets strike out an MLB player? 10% said yes.
Woo! Let's go, Buckets.
Buckets, did you vote? There's only 10 votes and you voted?
No, I didn't.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's
All
Jeff.
right.
It's a Jeff vote because he knows Buckets has secret, super special powers that he just keeps hidden.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, we got to get to my 3-ball matchup. Maybe I have a little live outright lean, maybe. And then we got to get to Danny. We got to get to your UFC picks. We got to get to home run props. A lot to get to right after this message from our partners.
Critics agree Landman is a hit.
We roll the dice one last time.
Men die. Oil companies don't.
All right, we're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Achilles TPS says, can we still vote on Best Male Podcast? I actually think voting closed yesterday. Thanks for the thought. And if you did vote, or if you thought about voting like Achilles did, really appreciate you. It took you 60 seconds or less. I don't know, maybe if we get to the next round, maybe there'll be another round of voting. I'm not 100% sure, but I will certainly let everybody know. And we really do appreciate people's participation in that because it doesn't come around that often. So when we ask you to do something like that takes a minute or less, I know it is time out of your day, but we definitely appreciate it nonetheless. All right, Danny, let's talk about some UFC. You've got a number of picks here, so get started.
Yeah, let's get after it. See, a UFC fight night, headed back to Vegas. Not a crazy card, but that's what I love about fight season. We're all lamenting, where's football? I'm so depressed. There's nothing around. It's the dog days. Fight season's always in season, baby. So let's get back after it. Starting off with a favorite that I like, then I'm going to give you guys a prop and then an underdog. Nice little spread of a portfolio for fight night. First off, I'm going Andre Pulyaev at minus 155. This guy is having his second chance now in the UFC, or excuse me, second fight. I think it's a much better matchup for him. They gave him Christian Leroy Duncan in his debut. Very tricky, lanky, rangy striker. Pulyaev has some of those same qualities, but I think he can put them on display in a much better fashion against an opponent like Nick Klein here. Klein is this long, gangly, kind of lanky grappler. But if he can't get to his grappling, I think the fight's going to go poorly for him. Pulyaev has the size advantage. He's 6'4", he's got a 78-inch reach, and he's the much better and cleaner striker. So if you can keep Klein from tangling up with him and getting to his back, just keep him at range, I think you're going to see him land those long, straight punches from halfway across the cage. One's going to touch the chin of Klein and put him down. So I like Pulyaev on the money line. I also like him by knockout at plus 220. I think he shows that striking skill and shows his differential here. He's better than Klein. Next fight up, man, watch out for this kid. Circle this fight. Kevin Vallejos by KO or TKO. Now, just to be clear, if you guys ever bet knockout props, especially in boxing, a knockout, like a clean knockout in boxing, is when the guy just doesn't get up. A TKO is when the ref steps in and says, you can't defend yourself, I'm going to defend you for you. In UFC, it doesn't matter how they go away. Either way, we're cashing this plus 120, whether he goes cold out or the ref steps in, just to clarify that KO TKO bet. But Vallejos, man, watch out for the kid. He's drawing some comparisons to Ilya Topuria. Now, certainly not at that level yet, but the way he moves, the way he slips and rips, it looks a lot like it. He weaves in off center line and he rises with his hooks in a nasty fashion. You cannot trade with Kevin Vallejos. He's too powerful. He's got granite in his fists. He's one of these fire Argentinian strikers that just have no quit in them, will move forward and walk through the fire. And he gets an opponent that I think he can knock out here in Danny Silva. Silva's never been knocked out. He's 10-1, but he's a wrestler boxer. And I don't think he'll be able to take Kevin Vallejos down. If you're forced into a 3-round boxing affair with Vallejos, you're going to go to sleep. Vallejos has 15-1, 11 of those wins by knockout. And his lone loss was a 29-28 loss to Gene Silva, the boogeyman of the featherweight division right now, who nobody wants to face. Vallejos took every shot from him, delivered back, even won a round. So I'm really high on this kid. Bet him by knockout. He's putting Danny Silva away. And finally, let's go with a dog that I really like this week. I'm going with Nora Cornole at plus 170 on the money line. And really, I'm taking her because her opponent, Carol Hossa, finds herself in close fights all the time. She's been in 4 split or majority decisions in the UFC, and she just has this ability to kind of give away rounds sometimes. I feel like she's always in a 29-28 fight. And she finds herself in the clinch very often. She's probably the cleaner striker in this matchup, but she strikes herself into the clinch, and that's where Cornole can really score. She's good in the Muay Thai plum clinch. She can lace up that grip around your neck, start delivering knees, elbows, and tight spaces. I think that's the difference in this fight. If they clinch up a lot, if Cornole's winning that head position against the fence, landing those chippy little elbows, maybe she can open up some damage, and maybe that blood or that little significant strike is the key differential in a 29-28 fight. So bonus pick for you guys. If I see it going close, give me Nora Cornole to win by split decision at plus 750. These women's MMA fights that are minus 500 to go the distance, why not take it, go into a split at plus 750, right? That way you can maybe find yourself a huge plus money tag if a judge disagrees with the other guy on the panel. So I see this one being close. I think Cornole edges it out with her Muay Thai clinch striking, and I think she could win a split at big plus odds.
All right. A lot of agreement with you, Danny Brasco, from people like Japan in the chat. I got to catch up on Gipper's picks to see where he's at on some of these as well. Amags is in the chat answering some baseball questions. We'll answer some on the show if you have any as well. And Amags says, let's hit 100 likes. We got to be really close, right? So let's get over 100. Always trying to, especially on a Friday, always trying to get to like 150. I think that's a really good number to get at. All right, let's go to my golf pick. I'm going to go to Chris Kirk. This is under 3-ball matchups, which you, again, can only find over at DK. Chris Kirk over Ben On. If you watch the early wedge, you know I'm big on Chris Kirk. He was one of my 3 primary outrights. I've pretty much show to show. I have 3 primary outrights. Most of them were in the long shot category, and I have 2 like super long shots. I got Chris Kirk in the without market. He was one of the ones I did in the without market at 80-1. He's currently 80-1 to win this tournament, just in the regular market. He was really, really good yesterday. I believe his greens in regulation was 18 out of 18. He had a ton of fairways, which you're going to want to do here. Ben On was pretty much the opposite. He's been okay on this course before. He's flashed in the past, but he wasn't really, the greens in regulation certainly wasn't as good, but hitting fairways wasn't as good either. Now, what I'll say here is what I'm noticing in the morning is that some of these kind of more erratic guys are, some of them have been successful in the morning, but I think in this afternoon, when the course firms up just a little bit, to the extent that it does, I think Chris Kirk is going to have a huge advantage, and I just think he's the more secure player in this matchup. So give me Chris Kirk minus 115 over Ben On, and I mentioned his outright odds because if you didn't watch the early wedge and you didn't get in on Chris Kirk, I do think he's live still to outright this tournament, especially when you look at the guys at the top. If he's going to win this tournament, he's got to have a pretty good day today, like -3, -4, kind of keep him sort of in the conversation. But the guys at the top can absolutely drift back. So I think it's a good time to look at a guy at -3 or -4 or -5 and maybe pull an outright. Again, if you missed on Chris Kirk before the tournament, I don't mind him at around 80, 75-1 right now as we speak. All right, let's get to a couple. I don't know if we have baseball questions, but we certainly have a home run we need to get to. So, Ben, let's put that up. And then, Sniper, I'm going to get your response. We got Tyler Soderstrom, Luis Robert, and Jazz Chisholm. Plus 350 versus plus 450, plus 340 versus plus 440, and plus 455 to plus 475 in Jazz Chisholm's case here. Sniper, any thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I wanted to look at either Ketel Marte or Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks in Oakland there. But sticking in Oakland, Soderstrom, it looks like the Diamondbacks are starting Anthony DeSclafani. Okay, that's a blast from the past because they just traded Merrill Kelly. Yeah, Soderstrom works there. Luis Robert, where are the White Sox? At Angels. Yeah, Angels, that's been a really conducive ballpark to home runs this year. And Tyler Anderson, a lefty on the hill for Robert, the righty theirs. I like both of those. And Chisholm, Yankees at home. Or no, they're in Miami. Interesting. Oh, Jazz Chisholm's returned to Miami.
Oh, interesting.
See it
Okay.
working.
And you know what? As a dialed-in Yankees fan right now who's been watching everything they're doing, he was lost for a little bit in that Tampa Bay series. He went 1 for 13 on the stretch. He was striking out at everything. But the last game and the last couple at-bats, he kind of found something. He looped a single in. He golfed a foul ball down the left field line. That would have been a home run. So I could see it, Sniper, in the return to Miami today.
So there you go. Most of the other questions about baseball in the chat were about buckets versus me. So I don't think there's anything of substance there.
Fair enough. Amag says, have to take Jazz going back to Miami. Amag's, of course, one of many Jazz Chisholm whisperers. Buckets, there is a question from Jeff Stenberg. I never know if Jeff Stenberg's questions are like real questions or not, but I don't know. Maybe there's some other soccer stuff, but he says, Buckets, do we like Accrington Stanley team total over 1.5 at plus 175?
Mute.
Oh, man. Classic Buckets.
I love how he's screaming what?
Oh, see, he doesn't even.
No.
Took him so long to figure that out. That's weird. You okay, buddy?
I don't know. I'm just. Yeah. What was the question? Where are we?
We've got this financial, we've got this financial services firm apparently.
So it's a good question by Jeff. He's asking I'm unmuted. Okay. He's asking about EFL League 2. So you got the Premier League, you got the Championship, you got League 1, then you got League 2. So it's the 4th division of English footy. A lot of books aren't going to let you bet on this. If you can bet on this, I actually really like that look, Jeff. I know that I think you're enemies with either Amags or Danny. I don't know all the lore here, but I am going to side with you on this one. At plus 175, it's tough as a season opener, but they should be really good this season.
All right. Bo Connor says, do you have any thoughts on Chris Kirk over Grillo and Byung-hun on? Yeah, so that's the 3 ball that everybody has available. The problem is one of my other 3 primary outrights was Emiliano Grillo, and he was fine yesterday. He wasn't great, but he was fine. I just don't it's just not something I'm going to bet on. I expect Kirk and Grillo to both be good in this tournament. So that's why I avoided the 3 ball. Go ahead.
I think Grillo's got too much variance. I don't like betting on him.
Yeah.
I don't like betting against him because he's so good, but just doesn't always put it together, even on a whole.
By the way, another storyline with this Ben On and Chris Kirk head-to-head is that they're both right on the line for the top 70 to make the FedEx Cup playoffs. They came in with Ben On at 69 and Chris Kirk, I think, at 73. But because of how they played yesterday, it's sort of reversed to 70 and 71. But the point is, to make the playoffs, these guys have to have a pretty good showing, and one could knock out the other. So this particular matchup, and it's funny that they're both in a 3-ball because they know where they stand in the FedEx Cup standings. It's just going to make for a very compelling theater when this thing starts, I think, at 1:27 p.m. And speaking of 1:27 p.m. At 12 o'clock, we've got the early edge on CBS Sports Network. At 1 o'clock, we've got the early wedge, where we're going to be talking about the tournament as it's going on, maybe some live outrights, certainly a lot of golf talk for that hour. It'll be me, Jason Sobel, and Mike McClure on that one, and I'll be on the early edge as well. So CBS Sports Network between 12 and 2 will be going hard and heavy. Chip Patterson, can I ask you something? We're so close to football. Can you tell everybody how often Cover 3 is going and what people can expect over the next few weeks?
Yeah, so as always, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We've started going Tuesdays at 12 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. You can get that on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cover3. We did a Heisman draft. You know, everybody roll through, draft your eventual Heisman Trophy winner. So you get to hear the names that were called, the names that didn't make the cut, and see whose squad is most likely to produce the winner or the most amount of finalists. This week was win totals for the Big 12. Next week, we're going to do, and these are Monday and Wednesday, split up the conference into 2 days. Every single daggum team, Sia. I mean, that's the thing is, you know, we'll give you our leans for every team. And then at the end of the series, we do our win totals locks just ahead of week 0 to tell you our very best bet. So we did all 16 Big 12 teams. Next week on Monday and Wednesday, all 17 ACC teams. The next week on Monday and Wednesday, all 16 SEC teams. And then Monday, Wednesday, all 18 Big 10 teams leading right into the start of week 0. So, I mean, it is the time of year where the Cover 3 podcast is nothing but just breaking down these teams and getting you set for the season. It is one of my most fun. It is one of the most fun times to be doing the show.
All right. Well, make sure you're subscribed to that podcast and watch those guys as they go live.
That's right. Good shout, Ben. We've got a college football season preview stream coming up next Tuesday.
That's right. We've got that, and we've got NFL streams preseason, not preseason, but before the season. We're going to have a futures show and awards and things of that nature. So look out for that as well. There's just so much content. Make sure you're subscribed to the SportsLine YouTube channel and tell your friends too. We've got 111,000 subscribers. No reason we shouldn't be at 120, 125 in the middle of the NFL season. So again, tell your friends, make sure you hit the subscribe button. All right. Does anybody have anything else before I get to the recap screen? Are we good here? Brasco, did you have something?
I just want to give a little shout out, if I may. My friends always support me. Very kind people. So let me do that. This painting you see here is my boy, Julian Pace. He was just featured in Sotheby's with a huge show. He does these life-size athletes that he loves. He puts huge kind of caricature-esque shoulders on him. He's got a Sean Kemp, a Patrick Ewing, Dennis Rodman, and he just had an amazing show. So go check him out. Check out some of his artwork. He's blowing up. Get it before it's $1 million a piece. Julian Pace, really cool artist.
Jeff Stenberg's not going to check him out because that artist is wearing that.
Well, if any art buffs in the chat, that's a play on Rene Magritte's Man with the Bowler Hat. And instead, he made it pigeon and Yankee-esque for his time in New York. He lives in LA now, but he'll always play on kind of the cultural riffs with old school references to artwork.
And listen, if you're going to do big shoulders and make you larger than life, Sean Kemp is 100% the athlete that you need to include in that series.
Yeah, and Dwight Howard, just massive shoulders. Dwight Howard. All right, let's we could do it. Like, there's so much in the chat that I really want to get to. We'll try to get to more chat next week. It's busy on BPE Friday. Let's take a look at all the picks we gave out today. I've got a 3-ball matchup this afternoon. Chris Kirk -115 over Ben On, and then Chip Patterson. He's got a matchup. Webb Simpson -130 over Steven Yeager. Then we go to the Dodgers team total over 4.5 at -130 from the Snyper. He also likes Freddie Freeman over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at -130. Buckets. Schalke 04 versus Hertha Berlin. Both teams to score plus over 2.5 goals at -115. And it's not LASIK, it's LASK. LASK versus Sturm Graz over 2.5 goals, -125. Andre Pulyayev, money line, -155. That's from Brasco. We're going UFC here. And Kevin Vallejo by KO, TKO at +120. And then finally, Nora Cornell, money line +170. And a bonus pick, Nora Cornell by split decision at +750. More picks. SportsLine picks. Chicago Cubs money line -124, courtesy of Micah Roberts and Michael Walker under 17.5 outs at -120, courtesy of Prop Stars. And don't forget, we got home run picks too. Tyler Soderstrom, Lewis Robert, and Jazz Chisholm are our top MLB home run plays per the SportsLine model and the Inside the Lines crew. So much going on in the chat. Appreciate everybody being here on a Friday. I have so much fun. Really, on this day and every day, I get to work with people like Chip Patterson, Buckets, Danny Brasco, and of course, the Sniper, Matt Snyder. And that includes Ben. Thank you, Ben. Everybody give a shout out to Ben in the chat.
Shout out to Ben.
Shout out to Ben. Thanks for being in here on a Friday. And Buckets is on mute again.
It's still muted.
What is even happening right now? Too much Demon Hunter or whatever that is. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get you out of here. Thanks for joining us. I'm the Counselor of Cash, and we, Buckets, you want to close?
Rest our
wrong.
case.
That's wrong. Subscribe.
You know the law.
You know the law.
Subscribe.